En allereerst komt nu Mpho Tutu van Fürth, de dochter van de Zuid-Afrikaanse bisschop, Desmond Tutu. En zoveel meer dan dat. Welcome.
Thank you.
It is so nice to have you here.
Thank you.
I was saying when we met before earlier, I was saying to you, you've led such a full life.
Yes.
And I've got the impression you're not planning to stop doing that, right, for many years to come.
Well, I come from a very long-lived family. So even though my father died last year, he was 90.
Yeah.
My mother is almost that and still looking very alive and kicking. And my, hoe zeg je dat? Grootouders.
Grandparents.
Yeah, they were also, a few years on. So
Yeah.
I have a couple of years to go, I hope.
If I can share a few things about your lively life, just for people who don't know, you became a priest in the Anglican Church in the US, right? And became officially ordained in 2004. In 2000, I know
I'll
all
go with
the
that.
dates.
Yeah, okay. Good, I'm glad
That's all
somebody
right.
does.
Wikipedia told me everything. And from 2011 to 2016, you went back to South Africa to become the director of the Desmond and Leah Tutu Foundation, which was all about peace, reconciliation, social justice. Right? Yes. And then in 2015, you got married to your wife.
Yes.
And she is Dutch,
Yes.
right? She's, what do you say, hoogleraar kindergeneeskunde? Sorry, I can't translate that. Marceline van Fürth.
Yes.
And she's with us today, so that's really lovely. She has a holiday and was able to be here. I think that for the South African church was a bit complicated, and you came to the Netherlands in 2019, where you are involved in church again, right?
Yes.
So how do you feel about vocation, calling? What does it mean? How do you find it?
Well, you know, the church often makes it sound as though the corner on the vocation market is with ordained ministry. But actually, all of us have vocations. All of us have a calling. Sometimes we can't hear what it is that we are being called to. But that moment when the thing that brings you the greatest joy is the thing that the world most needs from you. That's when you have found your vocation. And so, I mean, you know, you can't necessarily imagine that somebody has a vocation to be an accountant. But it is so that there are, there are people like that.
Right, I know, and I'm so grateful for them. So, and how did you find your vocation? Is there like a pivotal moment in your life that you can point at, or was it more of a combination of things?
I think at least my vocation to ordained ministry was, I found when I stopped running away from my vocation to ordained ministry. So,
why were you running away from it? Can I ask?
Yeah, you know, so part of the thing that I thought about ordained ministry was that the example that I had was my father, who was in a ministry that he clearly loved. He was clearly in his element. He clearly relished what he was doing. And it looked like such hard work.
Yeah, because you saw the backside of all of that. Yeah.
Yes, and that it, you know, I mean, it was so many hours in the day, and so much being close to the grief that people live, as well as being so much close to the joy, and also having to, in our context, clergy are allowed to marry, and so negotiating that ministry with family life. What do you do when your congregation is pulling you in this direction and your family needs are in that direction, and how do you pray your way through that? And I wasn't sure that was what I wanted, but clearly that was what wanted me, and I find that that's exactly where I want to be.
Just a short question for all of us. You took a very scenic road to your vocation. Do you think all of them, and me included, need to take a scenic road, or are there many ways to find your own vocation?
I think I took the scenic road. Maybe I'm just a slow learner. But that's not something that's necessary. You know, some people know from a very young age exactly what they want to do and exactly where they're going, and they, you know, 1 foot on the path, and they just keep going and they get there.
Accountants do that,
accountants.
right? Yeah. So you already mentioned that your father sometimes was in a tension between his responsibilities for the congregation and his responsibilities as a father and husband, or, well, family. And I was thinking about a moment in your life where maybe, I wonder if that was a thing for you, where you married your wife, your love, and also sort of, you had to choose between basically the congregation and family life. It feels like that if I read your story. How was that for you? Did you experience it that way? And was that like an obstacle in your vocation, or?
So when I was in South Africa, my primary ministry was the Legacy Foundation. My primary ministry wasn't in the congregation.
Right, so not a priest.
And so then it wasn't so much the tension, and my instruction to myself is always, the right choice is always love. So what is the most loving thing in any situation? And the most loving thing in that particular situation was to be with the person I love, which is why I'm in the freezing Netherlands and not in sunny South Africa.
Right. And do you feel like, did it feel like an obstacle to your vocation, or have you felt obstacles in following your calling or living out your calling?
God keeps talking and God keeps calling, and the psalmist says, "Your word is a lantern to my feet." It doesn't say it's a spotlight out all the way across the field. It is a lantern to my feet, which is kind of the next step that I have to take. Is the thing that I can see. I can't necessarily see where the journey ends. Right. And so if I'm always doing the next right thing, then I am following the path that God leads.
You shared something so beautiful in the preparations towards this event, where you spoke about violin teachers and their vocation.
Oh,
yes. Can you share that again? Because I really loved that story, and I was like, they should all hear it.
Oh, okay. So my daughter, my eldest daughter, was played in the Orff ensemble at her school, which was marimbas, and she was also in the orchestra playing clarinet. And the first year of her school, where they had these specific music lessons, the first concert, the Orff ensemble played last, because the Orff ensemble actually sounds like something. The other kids, you just have to, the orchestra, you hear the violinist kids come on, and it's like, okay, they're going to play Three Blind Mice, and it's like, and then, and of course the parents all applaud because they're parents and it's their kids and they're amazing. And then they're going to play Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. It sounds exactly like Three Blind Mice, but hey, wonderful, darling. You're amazing. But at the end of the year concert, their Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star actually sounds like something. And the Three Blind Mice is like, but it's okay. And the thing that I thought was, my goodness, that first year music teacher, there has to be a special place for them in heaven. Because, as soon as these children start to sound like something, they're off to the next teacher. And, and you're back with this group, next year, again.
Yeah. Yeah, I love the story, and also it reminds me of, in a way, making yourself redundant as a result of following your calling. Do you know what I mean? Do you feel like I phrased this like can it be part of your vocational calling to make yourself redundant, like unnecessary? Because that's what happens. Like they give everything for a year, and then the children don't need them anymore. Like are gone.
Yeah, I mean,
That sounds like a paradox, but maybe it belongs together.
It actually, I remember my brother correcting my mother's English at a moment, and my mother saying to him, you know, I have taught you this language so well that now you're correcting me, and you know, I've done my job.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mpho.
Thank
Let's
you.
let's give you a hand, yeah?
Thank you.